June 28th at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mr. DeWalt,
Present.
Mr. Les,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Sidnor,
Here.
President Nicholas,
Here.
Mayor Mel.
I'm here.
I'm going to take the agenda out of order this evening. We have a court reporter for agenda items 7A and 7B. We will start with agenda item 7A. Our second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1973, map amendment number 914, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland to approve map amendment number 914 for rezoning from R5 zone to RT zone with the properties known as 7222 and 7302 Conti Road, Laurel, Maryland, 20707, submitted by Ribera Development LLC and providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Mr. Love, you have the floor.
Thank you and good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and council members. Before you is map amendment 914, ordinance number 1973, as required by City of Laurel Code, providing legislation to rezone the properties located at 7222 and 7302 Conti Road. The applicant, Ribera Development LLC, is seeking a map amendment to rezone 7222 and 7302 Conti Road from the R5 one-family detached zone to the RT townhouse zone for a future townhome development. Under date of May 11, 2021, the application and a cover letter asking for comments were also sent to the following agencies: the Maryland State Highway Administration, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, Prince George's County Health Department, Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Prince George's County Department of Permitting Inspections and Enforcement, Verizon, and Prince George's County Public Schools Department of Capital Programs. Under the date of May 11, 2021, a memorandum asking for comments was sent to the following city departments: Department of Public Works, the Police Department, Department of Parks and Recreation, and the Department of Fire Marshal and Permit Services. Following responses were received: Prince George's County Health Department, Maryland State Highway Administration, and the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission had no problems with the request. The following responses were received from city departments: Laurel Police Department, the City of Laurel Parks and Department of Parks and Recreation, and the City of Laurel Fire Marshal's Department had no issues with the proposed rezoning. The City of Laurel Department of Public Works had the following comment: when the traffic impact study is complete, can you make sure we receive a copy also for review and documentation? And if additional driveway aprons will be constructed for more townhouses, they must also be reviewed and approved by the county. No other comments were received. On May 18, 2021, a letter explaining the nature of the application, advertising of the scheduled public hearings on the application before the Planning Commission was sent by certified mail to all contiguous property owners. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and Laurel City Council dated June 13, 2019 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on June 15, 2021, the following action was taken on the subject zoning application. Ms. Bonner made a motion to recommend approval of the map amendment application number 914 for 7222 and 7302 Conti Road, Laurel, Maryland, 20707 to the Mayor and City Council. Chairwoman Bettman seconded Ms. Bonner's motion. Vice Chairman Kitch voted no. The motion to recommend approval passed with a 2-to-1 vote with the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall obtain approval of a plat of consolidation from the City of Laurel Planning Commission, and 2, the applicant shall obtain neo-traditional overlay concept plan approval from the Mayor and City Council and final plan of neo-traditional overlay and site and landscape plan approval from the City of Laurel Planning Commission. Let me correct myself. I said that letter was dated June 13th. That was actually June 17th, 2021. Thank you on that. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised in the June 3rd, 2021 and June 10th, 2021 issues of the Prince George's Post. The file contains an affidavit signed by the applicant attesting that the zoning sign had been placed on the subject property, has remained, and shall remain until a decision is reached by the city council. The applicant and their team are on the line to make a presentation. That concludes the reading of the file, Madam President.
Okay. Was Mr. DeVito here to give a presentation?
I believe so. Yep.
Madam President, one moment, I'm gonna share my screen so that Mr. DeVito can do his presentation.
Okay.
Mr. DeVito, you can, I believe you can start sharing now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, great. Do I need to, that's still your screen, I believe, right?
Okay, are you able to now?
I don't see any of my typical prompts in order to share my screen.
Okay, one moment.
And I don't know if you have a copy of my you're welcome to pull it up yourself if that would be easier.
Okay, can you all see that now?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Disappeared, Kim.
Okay,
There it is.
Mr. DeVito?
Okay. Thank you all again. And my camera, I don't have the option to show my camera, unfortunately, or you'd see my face, so I apologize, but I am here. Thank you again for your time and for hearing this. We were here obviously a couple of weeks ago at our first council meeting, and then since then we had a very extensive presentation to your planning commission. We ran through a number of slides and went through the criteria of a rezoning in detail, and obviously the planning commission voted in favor of it, so I'm not going to go back through an extensive presentation. I just wanted to run through some quick slides, hit the highlights of what we discussed at the planning commission, and which I think will address some of the questions that were raised at our first council hearing. And first and foremost, I would like to start off to say we support and incorporate by reference Mr. Love's recommendation on this rezoning. We agree with his proposals. We accept the conditions of having to do the consolidation plat and the neo-traditional overlay. That's always been our plan, so we accept those conditions. And so what I will start off with is just a quick, the first slide you're looking at is just a summary of our development team and the property owner. And we don't have to stay here long. We can go to the next slide, Kim. And this is an overview of the city of Laurel, which obviously you all are familiar with, but I just wanted to focus you in on where the property is located in relation to some other, relatively recent developments in the area, the Contera project, Victoria Falls, which is roughly directly across the street, heavy intensive commercial use directly across the street, Anderson's Corner, very nearby, Avery Place Townhomes right nearby, West Side, and then the new Universe Maryland system are all in the immediate vicinity of this property. The next slide just shows the zoning of those parcels and what has filled in around. This is a little deceiving, your zoning map, because it shows the industrial zoning, which is actually, eligible for your MXT overlay, even though it has that zoning now because of its existing use. But that property eventually will be MXT along with Anderson's Corner and West Side, all those properties are MXT, just literally across the street and surrounding this property. All would be in what's considered in the neighborhood of this property. And as we discussed before, the change in character would be the change in character of the neighborhood. These properties that have all been developed after this property was originally slated for the single family use that the zoning it has now. So all of these changes came well after that zoning was in place on this property and justify the change in the zoning. That along with New Conti Road, along with the interchange that was built for Conterra, Anderson's Corner, West Side, this MXT zoning, the University of Maryland Wellness Center, all significant change criteria that have been met to justify this rezoning. And so the next slide is really where I wanted to, and I don't know if you're able to make that a little bigger, Kim, but this is one that I wanted to focus on a little bit because what we did since our last hearing is I wanted to, thank you, I appreciate that. What this is the concept plan that we showed the Planning Commission that shows the layout of the property and the boundaries. It shows the environmental area in the middle of the property, which is where you know, we can't touch in essence, and then our stormwater will be draining in that general vicinity. And it also shows the arrows would show where our entrance, an initial proposal of our entrance. And the white dashed boxes would be where the townhouse units would be located. So you can see this is a cluster plan. It's well laid out for the neo-traditional overlay that we're gonna have to meet. And so we then, on top of that, after sort of identifying the areas where the townhouses would go, we wanted to show the buffers and the distances that would be to adjacent structures. So there's a mandatory 20-foot landscape buffer, goes all the way around the property that we have to meet. But if you look on the one side, I guess over towards the Wellington side, you can see the actual setbacks and distances from dwellings are 108 feet in one area, 78 feet. The smallest that we've seen to sort of where a structure would be is 105 feet. There's another that's 145 feet. There was an area in the top corner of the property. I know, I think there was a question raised by maybe a homeowner in that general vicinity about how close the units would be. And in that area, the setback to that person's residence is over 220 feet away. So these units would be well set back from any existing structures. Down on the Conti Road side, the closest townhouse unit would be roughly 85 feet from the Islamic Center's side of that wall. So again, that's a fairly sizable setback, and at least, if not more than anything a single family house would have from the Islamic Center. So there's no, despite the fact that these are townhouses, they wouldn't be any closer to the adjoining properties than other unit types. It's just the way this site lays out. So I just wanted to make sure that council had the benefit of this graphic that sort of put into context where these units would fall in relation to the nearby surroundings. The other thing I just wanted to point out is, if you could move to the last slide, and obviously I can answer any questions about these after we get through the presentation, but the last slide I just wanted to show is this is an example of some of these projects that I just mentioned, obviously, which you're all familiar with, the Anderson's Corner and West Side and Avery Place. But the Avery Place townhomes that I wanted to show as a graph here, which we showed to the Planning Commission, is an example of the type of townhouses and the design and the layout, that neo-traditional style that we would be implementing here. So you can get a feel for this. I just wanted to make sure that everyone had a feel for the type of unit that's being proposed here. And lastly, I wanted to point out too, there was a lot of discussion about whether we've spoken with any representatives of the Islamic Center, which we have. We've met with them. I personally did not, but representatives of the project have met with representatives of the Islamic Center. There were discussions that were had. I will say that we remain open to discussing various things with the representatives of the Islamic Center. We said we would consider where the entrance would be located, possibly moving some units, possibly moving the stormwater pond. Those are all things we would definitely consider. However, those take extensive engineering into site layouts. We'd have to get representatives of the city involved. when it comes down to moving the stormwater pond, representatives of the city, the county, and possibly even the Corps of Engineers have to get involved. So these are not easy answers. But what we've said is we'd be very willing to look at all of those sorts of things and to be good neighbors. We definitely would consider. And lastly, we offered to the Islamic Center that any prospective buyer in this community, we would give them a notice that there is an existing active Islamic Center next door, that they'd have to be aware of it when they purchase these homes. And we would be willing to make that notice to them. So there's no question about their presence in the neighborhood. So I just wanted to make sure council was aware of that as well, that we have had those discussions. We are willing to continue them, but at this point in time, a lot of them are premature because they come at the next step of the process, at the engineering phase. And obviously we have to go back to the planning commission. There's a lot of work to be done after the rezoning, and those issues really aren't appropriate for rezoning. The issue on the table for rezoning is whether this is a compatible land use for the surrounding area. And as the planning commission agreed, as Mr. Love's report has shown, we thoroughly believe that this is an absolute appropriate use given everything that's happened in this area of the city. And with that, I would conclude the formal presentation and reserve any future time to address questions from council and any other participants here if I can address them.
Thank you, Mr. DeVito, for your presentation. Before I move to the open public hearing, I will take questions from the council. Councilman Signor, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time.
Councilman Smith?
No questions.
Councilman DeWalt?
Just a question for the attorney, Mr. DeVito. You said that there were people that talked to the mosque, but you decided not to talk to them. So you're going on secondhand knowledge of what they said or how they acted to the people that discussed this with them. Am I correct on that?
Oh, sorry. I did not attend the meeting on Friday because it was attended by others. I spoke with the Islamic Center's attorney today and talked directly with him. So I'm going on knowledge of my client, and I'm going on personal knowledge of speaking with the Islamic Center's attorney.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Les?
No questions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:17. Madam Clerk, I understand that there are 12 people signed up to speak. I'd ask that you please state your name and your address. We can take our first speaker.
Madam President, our first speaker is Mr. Saeed Osama Hassan, and he's the president of the Islamic Community Center of Laurel.
Okay, and before he goes on, I'd like to add that each speaker has 3 minutes. Thank you. You may proceed.
Good evening, respected Mayor, Madam President, and council members of the great city of Laurel. My name is Saeed Hassan, and I'm the president of the Islamic Community Center, ICCL, at 7306 Conti Road, Laurel, Maryland. My parents moved into Laurel almost 40 years ago when they purchased a home in Montpelier Woods, which my family still owns today. My father was the first president at ICCL, and along with other elders, they developed our community and purchased and built our center in 1990, adjacent to this Janowski property. ICCL has been at this location for over 30 years now. My father passed away just late last year, with me, his son, now serving as the president of this center. Our elders purchased this specific property specifically due to the surrounding single-family zoning and the privacy and low density of the area. They have now left the care and responsibility of the community to us, second generation. Our center now currently serves over 1,000 people, a number which continues to grow with daily prayers, congregations, and other large special and community events. We have several driving events in our parking lots with traffic feeding in and lining up through the service road. We also regularly hold drive-through distributions for food assistance to citizens of Laurel in need. And also, as I mentioned in the last meeting, we are a primary point of distribution for the city of Laurel for disaster relief, mainly due to the easy flow through the service road and our entry and exit points on Conti Road. And this was highlighted when we spent about 1.5 years planning for this. This partnership with Laurel is something we are very proud of, and we strive to continue in this role for generations to come. The proposed zoning change will have detrimental impacts to traffic for this service. As mentioned before, I met with the developers just a few days ago, last Friday, being the president of a very active community center, which is directly next door to this property with just a few feet of buffer space in between the land. Our mayor wanted us to meet and discuss the plans. I saw the proposed townhomes and the layout and entry and exit points for the first time, and have to say I'm opposed to the plans as currently laid out, as I know that they will cause major issues in our locality. These issues include traffic jams, sound complaints, loss of privacy, decrease in seclusion, overwhelming congestion, and the list goes on. They will impact our community, the residents of this land, as well as others in surrounding areas. We at ICCL strive to be great neighbors, and I think the city knows this, and this plan is a setup for issues all around. Therefore, we strongly object to the proposed rezoning for this property. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we hear from our next speaker? Please state your name and your address.
Madam President, our next speaker will be Haider Quadri, and he's the chairman of the ICCL. And give me one moment so that I can find him in the list of attendees. And if we could have everybody, for the court reporters' benefit, if they could spell their name when they start to speak. Hold on one moment, let me find Mr. Chaudhry. Mr. Chaudhry, you can now speak.
Hi, this is Mr. Kadri, Haider Kadri from the Islamic Community Center of Laurel. Good evening, Mayor Mo, members of the council, Mr. Love, and the staff of the city of Laurel. I'm Haider Kadri, chairman of the board of directors of the Islamic Community Center of Laurel, located at 7306 Conti Road in Laurel, Maryland. As Mr. Hassan mentioned, we've been located at this facility for over 30 years. And I've been attending that center during my early Sunday school days all the way through today. My father, who was a part of the leadership at ICCL, actually breathed his last on the center's property. So without a doubt, this center holds an extremely special place in my heart. And we always strive for the best thing, not only for the center itself, but for the general citizens of the community of Laurel. As the leadership of this community, as Mr. Hassan mentioned, the leadership has now been handed down to the second generation. I have the honor now to serve as chairman of the center, leading over 300 members and well over 1,000 attendees. We have on a daily basis, we provide multiple religious and community services to the members of our community and to the citizens of Laurel. We've been key partners to the city and the city's resiliency program, and continue to do what is best for the citizens of Laurel. Members of the council, in short, we believe this change is not fair. The property was sought out because it was zoned as single-family residential, and for over 30 years, every neighboring property has continued to remain in that zoning as single-family. The Conti Crossing neighborhood on Clarkwood is all single-family residential. River Birch Court development, single-family residential. Wellington community, single family residential. So the question is now, why townhomes and why now? This increased density from the original purpose is way too much. It will cause major issues for our community and those whom we serve. ICCL and its future leaders will be stuck with dealing with homeowners' complaints and issues long after the developer and current owner are gone. And there is no doubt that the neighboring property that is most impacted by this change would be the Islamic Community Center of Laurel. We can also note, and we agree, that we did meet with representatives from the applicant, Ribera Development, this past Friday. And because no formal agreement has been made, we respectfully request a delay in this decision for rezoning tonight. If that delay cannot be granted, then ICCL respectfully requests that the city deny the zoning change request and maintains the current R5 zoning. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. As always, The Islamic Community Center of Laurel strives to be in the best service to our community, the citizens of Laurel, and the best organizational partners to the city of Laurel. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, we can move to our next speaker.
Madam President, our next speaker is going to be the attorney representing the ICCL, Abdullah Hijazi. And I do apologize if I am mispronouncing anyone's name. Mr. Hijazi, you have the floor.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening. Abdullah Hijazi. Last name is spelled Hijazi. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Just to start off, I do want to stress that the elements that have to be met for a rezoning are that there has to be a mistake in the last time this property was rezoned, which I do not think anybody can argue here, because this property has been continuously zoned single family in one zone or another, whether under the county zoning program or the city zoning program for many years, as you've heard before. The other way that a rezoning can go through is if there is proof of the change of character. The two developments that have been cited today as proof of change of character are Anderson Corner and West Side Shops. Anderson Corner is not adjacent to this property. All the adjacent properties to this property are zoned single family residential and have been already approved or developed as single family residential. Anderson Corner is closer to 95 and Contera Drive. And the only portion of that development that could be said to front Conti was preserved for parkland with the city and was not developed. West Side Shops also has been zoned mixed use since the approved 1990 Subregion 1 master plan, and they adopted sectional map amendment when this property, before it was annexed by the city of Laurel. So this property has been zoned and prepped for, West Side Shops was zoned and prepped for townhouses and higher density development since 1990 and should not be used as an example of a change of character. We did meet with members of the developers side. We did not get to meet with them until Friday of last week. And we respectfully asked for a delay on this decision to see if there was a way to work out a agreement of some sort between us and the developer. Instead, the developer has chosen to force this on the community, steamroll this through a decision today, and is saying that all these issues are premature. None of the issues that we're bringing up are premature, and we don't think that there is enough for the rezoning, a change of character to approve a rezone. But even if there was, this is the time for the developer to consider the issues we're raising and to try to work with the community. Instead of doing so, they've chosen to move forward. I urge the council to allow more time for the community participation if the council is going to approve this. Otherwise, we urge the council to respectfully deny this. We do not appreciate the developer saying that they met with us when they only met with us on Friday. It seems like the purpose of the meeting was to just simply be able to say that they met with us for the sake of meeting with us, rather than trying to engage the public in good faith and see how they can solve some of the grievances that the public has with the development. As to the most concern is the fact that the ICCL building is built closer to this development rather than any other development. If you look at I think it was slide number 4 in the presentation, the ICCL building, and they said was supposed to be within 85 feet of the closest townhome. In fact, the parking lot that serves the front of that building is literally 2 to 3 feet from the property line of this development, and they're trying to put homes within 20 feet of that parking lot. That is not a sufficient buffer. If this remained a single family dwelling, then single family dwellings would have a rear yard of at least 25 to 30 feet or 20 to 30 feet, plus the required landscape yard of 20 feet, putting in a natural buffer of around 50 feet between the homes. Plus their proposed access is currently within the service road, the same service road that serves the mosque, which becomes very highly congested during Friday prayers, 2 Friday services every Friday, and during other large events. Again, we urge the city council to not find that there has been a change of character, since everything surrounding the mosque and this development is single family dwellings, and no change of character can be cited to since this property was annexed to allow for the rezoning, and we urge the denial of the rezoning application.
Thank you for your testimony. Madam Clerk, can you call the next person, please?
Madam President, excuse me, our next speaker is Mohammed Ismail. Mr. Ismail, you now have the floor.
My name is Mohammed Ismail, and I spelled out is my last name is Ismail. I am resident of the 13909 Clarkwood Lane, Laurel, Maryland, and this is I bought this property in 2005. Just because I bought this property because all the development that at that time it was going. Neighboring development and everything was a single family house. And that was the value that I wanted to put on my house that I'm going to have in my future home. That is the reason I bought this house. And also my reason was the next door was the community, Islamic Community Center, that I'm the Muslim and I can go to the prayer over there. And now, this development that in between the Islamic Community Center and the Clarkwood land, there was a hearing and a development, I think from the Legend Group that put it on, and they were trying to build a single family house, and that was being approved. I'm not sure where this space is that whether they're going to start the development of those single family houses or not. And the reason I'm calling here, and also I bought the house in the Wellington community, and also I'm the board member of the Wellington community. A lot of the community members from the Wellington, they approached us to that they don't want the townhouses behind their yards. And my question here is, like, if let's say if we are accepting their application to rezone to the townhomes, now maybe this is the venue, or this is the open door that we are going to open the door for the other developer, other builder, that wherever they find the single family house, they can build a townhouse. And this is a causing like the traffic issues, a lot of other issues that they can be unseen. And let's say if this is going to be rezoned and it's been approved, the development that is already been approved for single family house, I don't know, like maybe they are going to come after like a 5 month or 6 month, when they are going to hear that this is going to be rezoned to the townhome, they are going to reapply to make it to rezone to the townhome. So they are going to build the townhomes in between the Clarkwood land and the Islamic Center community. So that's like we are creating, or we are inviting all the builders and all the developers that they can find a property, they can find a land wherever there's a single family house, they can rezone to the townhomes. And this is I think I request to deny this application. I am also the owner. I have a businesses, and I have all the businesses and the properties that I have bought in the city of Laurel, and I value the city of Laurel, and I think I will expect and request all the council members and the mayor to please deny this application and let this be a single family home, because we are losing our single family home values that we purchase our property next door to. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the next speaker, please.
Madam President, our next speaker is Zavid Bahayat. Mr. Bahayat, I apologize if I mispronounced your name. You now have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Madam President and council members. My name is Javid Bayat, spelled Javid. Last name Bayat, Bhayat. I have been the Imam of the Islamic Community Center of Laurel for the last 21 years, and I have a house. I have two homes in Laurel. My address is 6908 Mayfair Road, Laurel, Maryland, 20707. Last 20 years, we have seen our congregation grow from a few families to hundreds of families. And we at the center offer a variety of educational programs for our children and adults. I work very closely with the first generation, and I have been blessed to work very closely with the second generation. And the institute in its initial stages, the way it was designed, it was actually, we had a vision and we were working towards that vision. And that vision, we cannot accomplish that vision if the change of use from low density to high density, if that change is allowed. This project is going to limit our future project, which has been in the planning for the last 40 years. I really feel that the developer, even though you might have something on paper with the traffic study, and I really do feel that the actual impact of those townhomes have been highly underestimated by the developer, and we can, we can provide pictures and proof, and you can, even the council members are welcome to come there and take a walk on that, on where that development is going to happen, and take a walk on those access roads on a Friday, and you can see that the impact, the actual impact it's going to have. This is going to cause undue hardship. I strongly believe it will cause undue hardship to ICCL and the neighboring homes, which we will have to deal with permanently each day and each week. The long-term impact of having 70 townhomes with an average of 2 to 3 cars per home is a recipe for us for disgruntled neighbors who we will have to deal with after the construction, way after the construction is complete, and the developer and their team will move on to their next project, leaving us to deal with the long-term impact of those townhomes. We strongly oppose that this rezoning be accepted and this rezoning be allowed, and we oppose the project, and we hope that the council also realizes the long-term impact of having. Just a quick reminder that when the new County Road was being developed in that area, we had so many meetings with the PG County. So the new county, and we had so much input in that design, and we had so many meetings to and fro where the exit points to the center is going to be. And then that access road was actually designed and left in its current state because of single family homes. That access road was never designed for townhomes ever. And you can go and you don't even have to take my word for that. You can just look at, you can see the history of the construction of the new County Road project there. This is going to have a negative impact in that area. It's going to lead to disgruntled neighbors. We don't want that. And it's going to highly impact our future projects. So we kindly request the council to deny the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Madam President, our next speaker is Mr. Milton Pasquale.
Hello, good evening. My name is Milton Pasquale. I live in the Conti Crossings community. I moved here 2 years ago, but I've been living in Laurel since 2002 because I moved from California to Laurel. And when I came to Laurel, I found that, it's one of the best cities to live in. It's right in the middle of both cities of Baltimore and DC. I just, when I purchased this home, my wife and I, we were looking for a home for about 3 to 4 years, and we wanted the perfect home. When we came to this home and we purchased this home, we found that we had peace in our back, in the back. Everything is a one way in, one way out. Like traffic wasn't an issue. If you bring townhouses to this community, it's just going to increase the traffic for us. It's going to, like the gentleman before me said, that, it's the chaotic things that are going to happen in here. You're going to have homeowners that are mad, like myself. I will be mad because it's supposed to be single family homes. And that's why I chose to have single family homes, because I want peace of mind for my daughter and my nephews who live with me. And we're asking. I know that my community is on the line and listening to, and we'll talk. And we're asking to vote against this because we don't need to bring in 70 townhouses or 75, whatever they want to bring. It's not going to help this community. It's just going to create a lot of chaotic mornings and a lot of things that are going to happen in this city is going to, and people are going to be discouraged and complaining a lot. So I urge you, gentlemen and ladies, to vote against this. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Madam President, our next speaker is Mr. Mohammed Sohail Chaudhry. Mr. Chaudhry.
Is he still on the line?
Yes, he is. I think he's having a hard time unmuting. Mr. Chaudhry? Okay, why don't we come back to him?
Okay.
Okay, Madam President, the next speaker is going to be Mohammed Rashid. Mr. Rashid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Rashid. I hope you guys can hear me well.
Yes, we
Yes.
hear you.
Thank you. I'm a resident of Wellington community. My address is 14211 Westmeads Drive, Laurel, Maryland. So I have shared my concerns via email as well. But just addition to that, I did talk to my neighbors and stuff like that. No one is happy to have. First thing is, no one is aware that there are about 60 or 70 townhomes coming in the neighborhood. But when they heard about it, they were very unhappy with it, and they were very, very, very concerned. And this issue was even brought up in the board members' meeting as well. The board member for the Wellington community, even they were not aware, and they were also concerned about it. And then the board member, they inquired from the management company, did you receive any letter? They said, yeah, we received in May, but for some reason it was not conveyed to the board members. So there are many, many concerns from the entire Wellington community. Even if you want to go ahead and do a survey and check with them if they are happy or if they can approve. I did talk to about 15, 20 people in my neighborhood. No one is happy about it, and they don't want to approve the change in the zoning. And we all agree that if they want to build a brand new single family homes under the current zoning, they are most welcome, no problem. But building townhomes is a huge concern. Mostly all of us, they spend more than $500,000 in this community. And for the safety of our kids, for the peace and all that stuff, we think if we get these townhouses right there, it's going to impact not only the peace, the environment, the safety, but also it's going to have a huge impact on the resources that we have in neighborhood. So we all the people that I have talked to so far are hugely concerned, and they don't approve the change in the zoning. So I request all of you that please do not change the zoning. They want to build single family homes, most welcome, but we don't want townhomes in our neighborhood. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Madam President, our next speaker is Mr. Abdulrahman Elman.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Good evening. I am speaking on behalf of 14103 Ripper Birch household. Our home is directly adjacent to the new development, and our property shares boundaries with this new development property. Privacy is our main concern, especially with 60 to 70 townhomes planned to being built. Also, the project is going to affect property values in our neighborhood, with townhomes costing less than single-family homes. Investors will be more interested in spending towards townhomes rather than our single-family homes. Third and last, the share, Old Conte Road, is going to be densely packed. By adding this number of townhomes, traffic will drastically increase, and this will have a direct impact on our neighborhood and neighboring Laurel Hospital and police station. We respectfully would like to oppose this proposal and ask to keep the zoning the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
One moment, Madam President.
Mhm.
Okay, our next speaker, Madam President, is Azim Vohra, Bohra.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor Mo, and council member and community members. My name is Azim Vohra. Last name is spelled as V as in Victor, Ohra. I'm a resident of Wilshire Committee, which is right across the University of Maryland Laurel Medical Center. I have been in this community for about over 3.5 years. And when we came here, I mean, there weren't a whole lot of development happening, but then we saw Ivory townhouses came along. Right now, if you go down County Road, the old County Road, all the way down, passing the University of Maryland Laurel Medical Center, if you pass it, there's Laurel Overlook community that's coming up, and now we're hearing about this new townhouses coming on the service road. The impact of the traffic has been significant. There has been a number of casualties around this area. There are a number of people that has gotten hurt. County Road, the old County Road, the service road that everyone has been talking about here, does not have a walkway for pedestrian to walk on. We're gonna have 60 to 70 townhouses coming up. This is gonna hugely impact this area, very, very dense area. This is single road. The old county road is a single lane each way. This actually will block not only the emergency vehicles coming in and out of the old county road, going toward it, and then Van Dusen Road itself is becoming more chaotic. There are people that actually don't stop at the stop sign or the stop light, even taking right turns and things like that. And I have witnessed multiple accidents around here. And as a community member and living in Wilshire, I agree with many speakers that have or community members have said that I disagree with rezoning this area. I also live in a single home dwelling. This is also impacting our house values. What we have invested in these houses, where it's going now, it has impacted way more than anyone out here. Yes, townhouses are going up. Townhouses are doing great. But what about the single family houses? Every one of these houses in Wellington, if you look at it, or if you look in Wilshire, the values are decreasing over time based on the square footage area. So I oppose this, and I request that you also oppose this approval. So please oppose this approval as we go forward to build a better community in Laurel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Madam President, we do, hopefully, Mr. Mohammed Chaudhry, telephone number 240-688-9822 or mschalc@gmail. I believe that he might be on the line. Okay. Okay, the only other speaker I have, Madam President, signed up is Miss Margaret Francis. She's the president of the Laurel Cove Homeowners Association. However, I do not see her email on the list, and I don't see her telephone listed either. So I'm not able to allow her to come in and speak. So that would conclude the speakers that have called in and registered, Madam President.
Okay, so that concludes all the speakers. I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:50 p.m.
Madam President, can I make a motion?
Oh, yes, I was about to entertain a motion now.
I make a motion that I would support Abdullah Hijazi, which is the attorney for the mosque. He said that they met just Friday. I would make a motion that we postpone the vote so that the people from the mosque and the developer could again meet, not 3 days before we're going to vote on it, that they can meet and try to develop some sort of compromise between the two parties and then vote on it at our next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
No, and let me say something. This is a rezoning issue. A lot of these issues that have been raised by the ICCL involve the planning and zoning process that would follow this, whether they delete 2 houses or 5 houses. The stormwater management issue would fall to the Soil Conservation District. There'd be a traffic study that would have to be done to address the traffic on the service road. And that would be a planning and zoning issue that would allow the opportunity for all the people that have concerns to raise their issues. And some of them were raised by people here. They said that there was a possibility they might delete some number of townhouses. So with that, I vote no.
Mr. Sidnor,
I was ready to cast a vote today, but I don't object to the attorney and Mr. DeVito meeting again. I don't know what they're gonna accomplish though, but I don't see a hurry right now. I say yes, let them try to meet again and come back for the next city council meeting for a vote.
President Nicholas,
I'll concur.
Mayor Mallard, did you want to comment?
I'm sorry, Kim, did you ask if I wanted to comment?
At this point, I'm unsure if you, if I should call for you to concur or not. My apologies.
No, this was just a simple motion.
Okay, thank you.
I will make a statement though that the developer has worked to meet with all parties involved. I encourage every party to not wait on this issue. I think everyone's trying to be upfront. We will work with all sides, but as Mr. Les has said, this is a strictly zoning issue. This isn't about how many units or anything else right now. This is strictly, did they meet the intent of the law? And that's what the council will have to vote on. But I encourage everyone to get together and come back at the next council meeting, and hopefully we'll have some action and there'll be some agreements. But I want to remind everyone, if you need the information, about this development or any other development in the city government, there's a lot of people that put bad information out there. All of that information is online. Every development the city does, all that information is online and has been online. So I encourage you to go look at that information, examine it. If you have questions, please contact Mr. Love, the director, as well as any of the parties involved. But that would be my comments, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1974, text amendment number 258, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, to amend Laurel City Code, Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision Regulations, Article 1, Zoning, 20-1.7, definitions to update the definitions for various terms used in Chapter 20, 20-6.13, Table of Residential Usage, 20-6.23, Accessory Structures, Bulk Regulations, 20-7.8, Table of Commercial Usage, 20-8.3, Table of the Office Building Usage, 20-9.5, Table of Industrial Uses, 20-12.3, Table of Mixed Use, Transportation-Oriented Usage, 20-20.10, Wireless Telecommunication Facilities, and providing for an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Mr. Love, you have the floor.
Thank you once again, and good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and council members. For you is text amendment 258 ordinance 1974 as required by the Laurel Code, providing legislation to amend the city's Unified Land Development Code. Text amendment application 258 ordinance 1974 was filed on May 13th, 2021 by city staff to the mayor and city council of Laurel to amend the Laurel Unified Land Development Code, Chapter 20 Land Development and Subdivision, Article 1 Zoning, and amend Chapter 20 Division 1 and 9 sections. Section 20-1.7 definitions, Section 20-6.13 Table of Residential Uses, Section 20-6.23 Accessory Structures Bulk Regulations, Section 20-7.8 Table of Commercial Uses, 20-8.3 Table of Office Building Uses, 20-9.5 Table of Industrial Uses, 20-12.3 Table of Mixed Use, Transportation-Oriented Uses, and 20-2010 Wireless Telecommunication Facility. The proposed ordinance was sent to the Maryland Department of Planning for comment. MDP had no comments. The file contains a certificate of publication verifying that this application and public hearing was advertised as required by law in the June 10th, 17th, and 24th editions of the Prince George's Post. A memorandum from the City of Laurel Planning Commission to the Mayor and City Council dated June 17th, 2021 reads as follows. At the regular meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission held on June 15th, 2021, the following action was taken on the subject zoning applications. Commission, on motion by Mr. Kish and seconded by Ms. Bonner, and carried on a roll call vote of all members present, voted to recommend approval of text amendment number 258 as presented in technical staff report and proposed ordinance to the mayor and city council. That concludes the reading of my file, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
President, there's nobody signed up to speak on this agenda item.
Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:59 p.m. Since no one has signed up to speak, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:59 p.m. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move for the approval of ordinance number 1974, text amendment number 258, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council for Laurel, Maryland, to amend Laurel City Code, Chapter 20.
Can I get a second?
Madam
As
President, I
specified
second.
in the reading.
Thank you.
Madam President, I second ordinance number 1974, text amendment number 258.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Madam President, can I ask Mr. Love just one more question, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Love, what we're looking to vote on, just one question. Will any of these stipulations affect anything that is currently being developed in the city of Laurel?
Currently being developed, depends what, sorry, excuse me a second. It depends what application is in. If the application is already in and being heard, no, it won't affect that, that
I'm
development.
talking about the ones that are being developed right now. Any development that is going on, that is currently going on, will it have any effect on those?
If an application, not the current applications, but if they should file new applications, they could fall under the new zoning ordinance, yes.
So if somebody that's developing now files a new application to change something in their building or their code, or change it in some way, that could affect it?
That could be affected by this, but this one in particular doesn't have anything in particular that would deal with, I would say, setbacks of buildings or anything to that effect.
But you're saying, no, it's not, it won't, they can't justify, I mean, they can't gain anything from these ordinances being, this segment of these ordinances being passed, they can't gain anything from it, or
No,
use these as getting something else approved.
No, these were fairly minor changes to some definitions and dealt with the wireless telecommunications facilities, but nothing with other structures as far as houses or anything to that effect are affected by this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll vote yes, Madam President.
Okay. So we will not be voting on this.
Madam President, Mr.
Yes.
DeWalt just voted yes. Now it's your turn. What's your vote?
Okay, yes.
Mayor Mo.
Councilmember Stilton, I vote, Madam President.
I'm sorry, you didn't call.
Thank you, Mr. Sidnor. Councilmember Smith,
I vote yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I vote yes. I concur.
We will now resume to the regular agenda, starting with item number 3, the report of the mayor and city council. I will start with Councilman Sidnor.
Still being start with me. Thank you, Madam President. On June 19th, we had a June 19th ceremony. As you know, this is like the 3rd time we have been working on an ordinance to make Juneteenth a national holiday in the city of Laurel. As you know, the federal government already made Juneteenth a national holiday. The city of Laurel was gonna make a special announcement at the program. We did make a special announcement, but it's gonna be automatic now. We still gotta put legislation before the city council. And we can be talking about it tonight in the legislation. And all the council members agreed to that legislation. We'll discuss that later when we get to that piece of legislation. And I'll talk more about the Juneteenth holiday as well. Also, this past Saturday, the state's attorney, Aisha Boyd, came to the city of Laurel to her campaign. She had a campaign going out preventing carjacking. Carjacking is an increase in Prince George County among juveniles. And so the state's attorney is going out throughout the county, getting information, education information, and Laurel was the kickoff. So I was glad to have that here in Laurel, the kickoff. She's, like I said earlier, she's gonna be going out through other cities throughout the municipality of Prince George County, preparing young folks who are still in college, not just young folks, adults as well. But it's important that we get information to our younger people, because those are the high risk right now that have been taking college in Prince George County over the past year and a half. That concludes my report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. This past weekend, I was able to join State's Attorney Aisha Boyd, Councilman Sidnor, Mayor Mo at the State's Attorney's campaign for juveniles who stopped stealing cars. I also, on June 19th, I held a celebration at the lake with the community. We had roughly around 200 to 250 people there. We had a parade, motorcade, where we heard from the state's attorney, our delegate here in District 21, Jocelyn Panamelnik. We also heard from the county council chair, Calvin Hawkins, and it was attended by our county council, Tom Dernoga, Mary Lehman from the delegate's office, and Jim Rosapep, along with a host of others, a couple of gubernatorial candidates, and a bunch of the local community. So it was well attended event. And I'm just looking forward to connecting with the community as all restrictions have been lifted. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of short things. Myself and Councilmember Smith and Councilmember Sidnor are currently at the MML conference. We're learning a lot, making a lot of good contacts. We heard a very inspirational speech this morning at the opening ceremonies. And other than that, getting a lot accomplished down here, and hope to bring all this knowledge and training and everything that we're getting back to the citizens of our great city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Les.
Thank you, Madam President. There's apparently a push on by some members of the Regional Transportation Planning Board to ask for reconsideration of the vote this last week that deleted the lanes, 2 additional lanes from the Beltway and 2 additional lanes from 270 North, which would have been toll lanes. And it was interesting in the article that appeared, they recognized that perhaps it was a mistake before that meeting, which was last month, or I guess last month, when they deleted the replacement for the American Bridge on the Beltway over the river, over the Potomac River. Because what's happening is these are, as some of us know, all of these things are interrelated to what's going to happen with traffic over the next 10 years. And I'm not going to fault anybody in Montgomery County that voted, and it was a weighted vote, so they had the most vote against including those toll lanes. But if we don't do something, this quadrant from the Potomac River north to where 270 turns into 70, and the Beltway, once it gets up near Holy Cross Hospital, it's just going to be gridlock. So hopefully there will be a reconsideration of the vote, and some people open their eyes and say, hey, maybe we need to look at this in a larger perspective. The other thing was this last week, Chesapeake Bay Foundation, University of Maryland Environmental Services area, they both issued their grades for the Chesapeake Bay. And I haven't read the whole report because they don't agree. One says it's in better shape than the other. I don't know what kind of shape it is. I do know that at Senator Fowler's weighed-in 2 weeks ago, he saw 10 inches less than he was able to look down to the bottom from the year before. But it turns out that when you look at the description of the problem, it has to do with all the fresh water we've had. It's clouding up the tidal areas. So we'll be discussing that at the EAC tomorrow for a few minutes. Maybe actually tying that in with some a task that the mayor has given me. I've already reported to him myself, but the EAC will be looking at the climate plan for the COG, and we'll be reporting back to the mayor. Last thing, I want to thank all of my friends and colleagues that have expressed condolences on the passing of my mother-in-law. It's not my mother-in-law, but it's the last of the Hopkins sisters that lived on Prince George Street. They came to Laurel in 1933. They went to school, they got married, they all bought houses on on Prince George Street. So she will be missed. And I want to thank everybody that sent condolences. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to Mayor Mo, I would like to send my condolences to your family, Mike. Thank you so much. Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Madam President. Couple things. The condolences to our Deputy City Administrator, Christian Pulley, on the passing of her father the other day. Christian will be out of the office for a few days dealing with that, and we send her our very best to her and her family. Also, to Miss Mary Eileen Les, Councilmember Les's wife, on the passing of her mother, better known as Winnie. Mary Eileen is a member of our Board of Appeals as well, and we send condolences to Mary Eileen and her family, Mike, you as well, and all the Les family. Did have the opportunity to attend the State's Radio Control Board, which I'm a member of, and then later that day attended First Generation College Bound, their second virtual graduation celebration. I want to thank Joe Fisher again and congratulate all the graduates of 2021 for their hard work and the hard work of Joe Fisher and his staff for all the work they do in our community and elsewhere, getting kids to college. I did attend the Prince George County Municipal Association chapter meeting, representing Laurel, as well as I was invited to the Laurel Little League end of the season celebration. Great outfit, do great work with kids, and I was very happy to be invited and be able to attend. The City of Laurel's Juneteenth event here in the council chambers. I want to thank Councilmember Sidnor for his work and for his legislation. I know that's on the agenda tonight. If council wishes to suspend the rules, the administration would support that and is in support of making it an official holiday. As I've said before, just because federal government does it or the state doesn't mean that municipalities follow suit or counties in some cases, but this has been put forth. We would support that. Great presentation, and I want to thank all those Department of Communications elsewhere that really made it happen. Look, we're about 110 people there, and I thought everybody had a really good time. And again, just was happy that we were able to bring people together in the council chambers to do such an event. The Golden Shovel Award was presented to Brian and Michelle Keating on 5th Street. I want to congratulate them and make note of that. I also was asked to attend the July 4th committee meeting to thank the volunteers at Granville Goody Park for all their work and their upcoming event this Saturday. And we did have our Clergy Association Advisory Council meeting. Again, I want to thank all of our clergy for attending and for all their input, as well as Chrissy Cornwell and Chief Hamill for their updates to them as well. I did have a short meeting with Laurel for Patuxent, talk about Riverfront Park Restoration project. It was an on-site meeting, and I know Bill Bailey was there as well, and look forward to working and partnering with them as well. That same day, I did have the opportunity to stop by the Laurel Museum and welcome them for their grand reopening. And then I did take part in the the anti-carjacking awareness campaign held over on Cypress Street, the state's attorneys and attorney's office and others. A couple of announcements. July the 3rd, this Saturday, the City of Laurel's annual Independence Day celebration will be held on Saturday, July the 3rd. The parade will start at 11. Right there at 6th and Montgomery Street is the check-in point starting at 9:30. There'll be a car show after that from 12 to 3 on Mulberry Street, sponsored by the American Legion Code 60 and the Sons of the American Legion Code 60. There's no field events or entertainment this year. However, we will welcome residents to Granville Goody Park after 7:30. We ask that you not come set out blankets any earlier than that. We believe it's going to be a busy night for all, but we have a good show that the July 4th committee has planned, and those fireworks will begin sometime around 9:15 p.m. In observance of Independence Day, July the 5th, city offices will be closed, so that means trash, recycling, and others will be the next day. And Madam President, with your permission, I have a couple of mayoral appointments and reappointments.
Yes.
You have a mayoral appointment for Greg Schweitzer to the Historical District Commission, and for reappointment to the Environmental Affairs, Cynthia Woods.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move for the approval of mayor's appointments.
Can I get a second?
A second, Madam President.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Laz,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is general public hearing. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the City of Laurel will be holding virtual meetings. The public is asked to submit written testimony on agenda items to the Laurel City Clerk at rrao@laurel.md.us by 2 p.m. on meeting days, and to register for the Zoom meeting information. Ms. Rao, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Madam President, there's no one signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:16 p.m. Since there's no one signed up to speak, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:16 p.m. Our next agenda item is consideration of a bid recommendation for a citywide radio system. Department of Information Technology, Mr. Frost, you have the floor. Again, this item was discussed at our work session, but Mr. Frost, would you like to add anything?
I do not, Madam President, but do you want me to do a presentation?
Sure, yes.
The Department of Information Technology is moving forward to replace our 12-year-old general government radio system. The general government radio system is used by all departments to conduct daily operations, and it also serves as a backup to our police radio system. The new Motorola Motor Turbo system will provide enhancements to our current system, such as integrated GPS tracking, texting, emergency alerting, and group calling by department. And if necessary, the system can be cross-connected to our police radio system. The purchase itself is an equipment purchase of mobile radios, portable radios, 2 radio repeaters, and 4 dispatch consoles. The vendor is Procom Communications LLC of Jessup, Maryland, doing business as Communication Electronics. Procom is a functional Area 1 master contractor on the 2018 State of Maryland Radio Communications contract. Funding is in the CIP Citywide Radio Project. The cost of the project is $157,919.46. Staff is recommending that the Mayor and Council award Procom Communications LLC of Jessup, Maryland, doing business as Communication Electronics, a $157,919.46 contract for the purchase of Motorola radio equipment under the State of Maryland Radio Communications Contract 060 Bravo 740088. That's the end of my presentation, Madam President.
Thank you. Again, this was discussed at our work session this evening. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam President, I make a bid to approve the bid recommendation for citywide radio system.
Thank you. Can I get?
I second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Laz,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas.
Yes. Our next agenda item is consideration of a bid recommendation for the purchase requisition of Lexipol Services. Laurel Police Department, Chief Hamill, you have the floor. Again, this was discussed at our work session. Would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Madam President, Mayor Mo, and City Council. The Laurel Police Department is respectfully requesting permission to purchase the Lexipol Annual Law Enforcement Policy Manual and Daily Training Bulletins with supplemental publication service with procedures to assist in updating, managing, and implementing the Laurel Police Department General Order Policy Manual. We've been able to identify funding in the FY21 budget in the amount of $44,934.55 to purchase a subscription-based tool for the most efficient and effective method to update and maintain our general orders, policies, and procedures with legal review included. We respectfully request a favorable vote on this, and thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Laz,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
President Nicholas.
Yes. Our next agenda item is item 7C, second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1975, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, the city authorizing and providing for an issuance of the city's general obligation term note series 2021B in the principal amount not to exceed $1,497,573 to finance the purchase of replacement vehicles and implement environmental programs, providing that such note shall be issued upon full faith and credit of the city, providing for the levy of annual taxes upon all accessible property within the city to pay the debt service on such notes, providing for the form, interest rate, maturity date, and other provisions of such notes, and for related purposes. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Ms. Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. That title really says it all. This would be an approval for us to obtain these funds. We have the debt service budgeted in the FY 2022 operating budget, and the projects that they'll be used to fund are in the FY 2022 capital improvement program. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Nobody signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:22 p.m. and I'll close the public hearing at 7:22 p.m. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam Clerk, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1975.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Laz,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I'll concur.
Our next agenda item is second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1976, an ordinance to amend the general operating budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Ms. Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Madam President. Again, this is the fourth amendment to the FY21 budget. It appropriates the funding from the state of Maryland received by our Economic and Community Development Department to administer a grant program to Main Street businesses in the amount of $262,330. Those grants are being paid over these next 2 days electronically, I'm happy to say, and I believe we were able to help 16 local businesses. Additionally, it provides interdepartmental transfer to provide funding for the MML conference, and it provides additional funding for the citywide parking and traffic analysis project, bringing that project total to $250,000. That's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Madam President, there's nobody signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:24 p.m. and I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:24 p.m. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam President, a motion to approve ordinance number 1976.
May I get a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I'll concur, and I'm glad they made a motion on that. They'd have been stuck with some bills down there in Ocean City at the conference.
Our next agenda item is second public hearing with possible action on ordinance number 1977, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland to amend chapter 9, miscellaneous provisions and offenses, to add a new article X, disposable plastic bags, to prohibit disposable plastic bags from being provided to customers in retail establishments at the point of sale, and to provide for penalties for the violation of this ordinance. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Mayor Mo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just I appreciate the council's input on this. This will give us a 6-month to educate the community as well as the businesses affected by this, and it would be in effect January 1 of 2022. And I think council should be very proud of the work they're doing on this. The state couldn't get it done, so we're going to do it at the local level. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move for the approval of ordinance number 1977, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland to amend chapter 9.
Madam President,
Yes.
we need to open the public hearing.
Oh,
Okay, I'm so sorry. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
No, there's nobody signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:27 p.m. No one is signed up to speak, so I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:27 p.m. So let me entertain a motion again, please.
I'll move for approval, Madam President.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I'll concur. Thank you.
Our next agenda item is in second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 621, a resolution of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, pursuant to section 312 of the charter of the city of Laurel entitled Meeting, Oath of Office, to allow for virtual meetings. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. Mayor Mo, you have the
Thank you,
floor.
Madam. Thank you, Madam President. I think this does exactly what we're seeing here tonight. It allows us to continue to operate while others are doing city business. It allows us the opportunity to keep our platforms up and current, and also the individuals, whether it be council members, staff, or other committees, to keep updated on the platforms and the use. And I think this is something that many municipalities that I've talked to are continuing. Some are moving forward with all virtual, but I think this gives the option to whoever the council president is to at least do one-on-one. And as I said before, I think at the work session, I think we will work internally to make sure that all of our commissions and committees do at least 1 or 2 virtual meetings a year at least, so that the platforms, they are used to the platforms and they keep up as well. One of the things, if we move forward with this and approve it, we will have to come back with an ordinance. We felt this was the best way to go to make sure council concurred with the way we were moving in the general public. And then we'd have to do the ordinance as well on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
No one signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:30 p.m. and I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 621.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Gawal,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I'm going to concur with resolution 6-21, and I thank the council. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1979. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland to amend the Laurel City Code, Article 1, in general, Section 2-1, legal holidays, to add Juneteenth Freedom Day as a city holiday and providing an effective date. This title has been read into the record for the first reading. Ms. Rao, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Madam President, no, there's nobody signed up to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:31 p.m. and I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:31 p.m. If we're going to suspend the rules, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules.
May I get a second?
A second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas.
Yes. Now I'll call for a motion. I'll
Yes.
entertain another motion.
Madam President, do you want to introduce the legislation first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead and speak, Councilman Signor.
Okay. This ordinance number 1979, as Madam President read it to the record, is to make Juneteenth an official holiday inside the city of Laurel. Just to give you a little history, I first learned about Juneteenth like 1989 when I was in the Navy, and one of my shipmates from Galveston, Texas, and he was talking about, every June 19th I have a big celebration. As you know that about Juneteenth, that's how it really started, because Major General Gordon went into Texas. Texas was the last state to Civil War was over with. They surrendered in April. The Confederate Army surrendered in April, but Texas kept on fighting for some reason. And then the Union Army went down into Galveston, Texas, and they fought for like 30 some days. And then the militia, the Texas militia, finally surrendered. And Major General Granger went in, like I said earlier, went in on the 19th, read an order, and let the slaves know that they was now free. They started having a celebration. As you know, they call it Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, and Liberation Day. And one of the things I think is what we say, why make something a holiday, right? What's so significant about that? History in our country, we talked about many times before, right? When you enslave someone from 1619 to 1865, and it's something to celebrate. And I think that's why Texas was the first state to make it a state holiday. And 47 states acknowledge it, before the federal government passed legislation in June. And then on June 19th, we started celebrating. So like the mayor said earlier, we have to still make legislation in the city of Laurel to make it an official holiday. And I want to thank all the council members. I'm the lead sponsor. All the council members agreed to it, no hesitation. Councilman DeWalt said he wasn't sure about the education of it. He loved the education. Myself and Councilman Smith educated him on that. Councilman Mike Glass, as you know, is already a historian on everything. There was no debate with him about making it a holiday inside the city of Laurel. And of course, Councilman Nicholas agreed as well. But I just want to thank the mayor too, because like I said, before we got to this point, the mayor always issued a proclamation. The whole goal was my goal was anyway, the mayor didn't know, the city council didn't know, was to bring this up for a city holiday. But I think you have to educate folks first before you do something the right away. And so this is what those proclamations was for. So each year was doing a proclamation. I kind of figured the federal government was going to pass it, so I wasn't going to just take my time with it. But when the federal government didn't pass it, then the state of Maryland didn't pass it as well. House passed it, but the Senate did not pass it. I said, well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and make an ordinance inside the city of Laurel. And like I said, the federal government did pass it, and the state passed it. So we just was ahead of the curve, but they beat us to it. So that's what this legislation is about. So starting next year, June 19th, the city of Laurel will celebrate, and the city employees be off. If the holiday falls on a Saturday, and the employees be off on a Friday, vice versa. Follow on Sunday the holiday. I think they'd be off on that Monday or that Friday. I'm not sure how that would work though. But the bottom line is that the city of Laurel will acknowledge June 19th as official city holiday along with the federal government. I think once again, thank my council members for supporting this. All 5 council members supported 100%, and also our mayor supported as well. So with that, Madam President, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1979.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank you for all of your efforts in bringing this information to the council.
I'll second.
Okay. This legislation, we suspended the rule. Okay. I'm calling for a vote. You first, second. Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
President Nicholas,
Yes.
Mayor Mel.
I just want to concur and make a statement that, there'll be some people that ask why, and I think we need to remember that the city of Laurel and the Laurel area is a majority minority community. It's important for us to educate our community of the different things that went on in prior years or centuries, whatever it may be, whether it's good or bad. And I think this gives us an opportunity to bring the community together and to celebrate this holiday and what it's all about. So I'll concur with that, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further business to come before the mayor and city council, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.